Hello, everybody. This is my video about my experience taking the transit places. Now, due to my environmental concerns and objections to driving in high school, I wasn't very passionate about learning to drive. Later on, major depression hit, and that stopped everything in my life. And then a year ago, I wanted to learn to drive again, and it was going well until I went on the highway for the first time and got overly stressed out and burnt out with driving. Soon after that, antidepressant withdrawal symptoms kicked in, and that stopped me from driving. And now I just recently renewed my learner's license, so I will now start learning to drive again. So these are the reasons why I don't drive, but I take the bus. Much of it is my choice that I made to not learn to drive, and much of it was out of my control, as a lot of my actions I did not have the strength to change. So this means I've taken the bus a lot these years of my life. So much time has been passed just riding on the bus with me, my thoughts, and my books. It's just a wonderful time. Sometimes you talk to strangers and it's such a pleasant experience. I never have earbuds in and I'm not glued to my phone. So this gives me ample amount of opportunity to talk to people when they're willing. I am good at making eye contact with people in a casual way, just glancing up, and if we see that both of us are on a similar wavelength, then we start chatting and it goes well. Now, a few days ago, I was what it seems to be hit on the bus. Like, this girl sat in front of me and we had a pleasant discussion. She seemed into me and it was nice. And then afterwards, we shook hands and she departed from the bus, and that was that. And I think that moment was just beautiful enough to cherish. It has no strings attached, no obligations. It was just a fun time. While this guy sitting right next to her, definitely neurodiverse, kept on what seems like bugging her, asking her questions about where does she work and just trying to get to know her more. And I could see it that she was definitely uncomfortable and wanting to just resume our chat. So that was pretty funny just to observe. Now other times talked to I talked to this guy that was studying the human brain at the university close by. And it was a very interesting discussion how he has his own unique research that he wanted to let the universe in on it, and he wanted he was very passionate about it. Now I can't quite remember what area of studying the brain it was. It will slowly come back to me, but anyways, I've studied the brain a whole bunch and the mind and how it works. So it was him and I were very compatible, and yet I just wasn't that talkative at the time, as it so seems to be throughout my life. Now, just looking at this imagery, you get to see the lush environment, how beautiful it is. Every day, essentially, I'm surrounded by nature, nurtured by nature is the slogan of where I live in this beautiful town in British Columbia, Canada. So very fortunate to spend all this time just looking out at the beautiful landscapes of the snow-capped mountains. One of them actually looks like a Pokeball, just with the snow formation. It's maybe I'll show a picture one of these times on the channel, or have a link to it in the future in this video. So taking the bus, it's a meditative process for me, because I try not to go with any distractions beyond what's around me, what's going on inside, and what my book is saying at the time. Sometimes I think that the cameras on the bus are watching me, because I feel so out of place. Like I feel almost awakened. Just the way that I am is different and more animated than everybody else. My mind is active and searching and discovering. And sometimes I wonder if somebody on the camera is looking at me with curiosity, wondering what's going on inside my mind. Because sometimes on the bus I have revolutionary thoughts. Other times it's just thoughts about people in my lives, in my life. And I am expressive with what's going on inside my mind, that people can tell right away whether I'm lost in a thought, thinking deeply about something, or what mood I possess, whether frustration, sadness, happiness. On the bus, you feel so alone sometimes, because that's what I do. I take the bus alone with myself most of the time, and I don't have anybody to talk to on the phone just casually about things. So, and nobody around me seems to be willing to chat up a conversation. Or sometimes I'm just reserved and I don't want to reach out and chat up a conversation. But this just leads me to say I have a lot of time just to think about things on the bus. Maybe that's why I'm so mature. But I think I get that from my father. He has taught me so much about how to be maturity, but I've also been born with this. So as you can see, it's very nice scenery. Eventually, I'll slow down on taking the bus as I learn to drive and I buy my own car, and I won't need to take the bus as much anymore. I do still intend to take the bus even with a car, as it can be fuel cost efficient, and I think I will always have a nostalgia and longing to take the bus, because the bus has now become my second home. I've become so familiar with the bus and familiar with seeing all the different people that get on the bus. The drug addicts that are suffering, to the party people that are very sexualized, to just the average person just going home or to work. You get to see them all with their own world and where they're going and what they're doing, and they have their own lives. It's been a long time coming, learning to be human for myself. I didn't know how to talk to people growing up, so I stayed to myself. Didn't know what to say, what to do. I didn't know who I was. But it is through these apologies, just some nuts in my throat. It's through these observations that I learn what motivates people, and I can learn what motivates me. I get to see the different biochemistry that's happening inside these individuals and why that is so, and maybe one day, actually not one day, because I am putting things in practice where those biochemicals are being released inside of me now, and that I can learn to express my humanity forward. So this is all to say, taking the bus and just sitting there, being observant, can teach you many great lessons from what people have to say. Just by how people are. Just taking mental notes of people in your surroundings without being creepy, of course. You don't stare at people, you lunatic. I definitely don't. You glance casually and then stare out at the window, just pondering away about life and everything that is. This is a very beautiful home that I cherish. Beautiful people all around. And I'm just now discovering how great people are. And I'm just now discovering how great being out really is, not sitting alone in my room. So I thank you all for listening to me and my bus thoughts. And I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, and see you later.